All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back. And we are on Whirlwind for game number 3 of this best of 3. Spawning in the top right position, representing CM Storm, a fan favorite hailing from South Africa, we have Pandatank. And his opponent, spawning in the bottom left position as the blue Terran player, we have none other than Roxkiss's very own Pro7ect.
Cross-spawn Whirlwind. Talk about a map and a position for an ace match. I don't think the size of this map is really going to favor mech play for Pro7ect. And you know what, Jorasar, that bio worked really well for him in game number 2.
It really did, and I think at the end of the day, I suspect Pro7ect was actually taken aback a little bit by just how well Pandatank handled that army in game number 1. We were all very worried because we saw him do so unbelievably... He just got crushed by a mech composition the night before. There was no way to say it, and he went for the robotics facility style defense against it again. So I was a little bit worried for him for a while, but he pulled off the flank with the Immortals beautifully, and the Archons were just so good with that splash damage against the Hellbats. It looks like that's his anti-mech build of choice, and to be fair, it worked really well for him. We then had a situation where Pro7ect switched things up in game number 2, and successfully managed to defeat Pandatank, who went for a slightly more unorthodox timing, I'd have to say. Those you mentioned, of course, we see those Blinkstalkers more often against Zerg players, and just caught out with a little bit of an anti-timing moving out across the map as Pro7ect laid on the pain of the natural expansion. So here on game number 3, massive map, huge, very long spawn locations, of course, cross position. We're going to be seeing what ideal army compositions these guys like in their late game.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's such a huge map, such a potential for a very long, drawn-out macro game. We do have a Reaper opening from Pro7ect. He's going to send an SCV scout as well, and he's going to use the Reaper to go to the other position. So he wants to get maximum scouting information as possible. Is going to now move it out on the field. Nexus is on the way, pretty quick for Pandatank. Getting it before Warp Gate or a Stalker or even a Zealot. So he is super eager to get that expansion going. We have a Mothership Core coming out first, actually. Try to just bank up the energy for that Photon Overcharge.
And we can see now the Reaper is going to spot that Pandatank is in fact in cross positions as he eliminates 2 of the possible 3 options there. Pro7ect is going to be getting down his second command center on the low ground as well. Nice and chilled out here at the moment, going for a reasonably quick stim actually, so bio-based play evident. After that game number 2 would not be surprising. SCV getting killed off, but not before it spot... No, it didn't actually spot the natural expansion there, so it doesn't know 100% for sure that that Nexus has gone down. I think it's safe to assume, though, on this map.
Yeah, especially considering the timing of the Stalker, it was a little bit late, and the Reaper's going to get in anyway. You're not going to be able to stop this guy from scouting. Sees the Nexus is actually about to complete, so that's also very important, knowing how fast it was. And I mean, he's also going to be able to run through and see there's no tech buildings down just yet. Pandatank killing the Reaper off, though, can pretty much throw down almost any structure at this point.
Well, the first one is going to be a bunker outside his natural expansion. I mean, better safe than sorry at the end of the day. That should prevent almost all sort of coming in through the front door, kind of early game pokes that Pandatank might be able to pull off against his opponent here. And in the meantime, Pandatank is going to be going for that robotics facility and adding on a couple more gateways as well. So things looking pretty standard so far.
Yep. Putting the pylon on the west side of his main base. Basically just wants to be able to see anything coming in, you know, any kind of early drop plays or transitions. But unlike the other Reaper transition into the mine play, we actually have him going straight for bio. He's going to have a very fast stim pack. It's actually going to be done by... like 7.5 minutes. Really early, really fast engineering bay in case there was any kind of proxy Stargate play as well. So he's going to have pretty much the fastest stim and +1 attack that you're going to get out of a build like this. Which is very, very interesting.
They don't quite line up. Stim is going to finish I'd say about an in-game minute before +1 attack, but that's because he was getting it so quickly. What he is got going for him, though, is that the factory is about to complete. So by the time +1 attack completes, he'll be almost ready to start his medevac production, especially if he gets an immediate reactor down on this factory. So let's keep an eye on that. There goes the starport. He's at 50 gas now, immediate reactor on the factory. So we are indeed going to see a +1 stim timing, possibly with the first couple of medevacs coming on out here. Pandatank, in the meantime, it's worth noting, has only just started scouting Nathanius. He's just confirmed that a project isn't in the top left location, and now the probe is going to be going down to scout. So reasonably late timing from him here this game.
Yeah, definitely playing with minimal information, but he's going to get a robotics bay. He's playing this very standard way, though. The Double Forge, of course, a lot of Protoss players have been doing this just because the Mothership Core is so good at defending. It doesn't even, it's not even a big risk anymore to go Double Forge against Terran players, because any kind of mid-game timing or really, really early one, if he like moved in when his stim completed, he would have been able to use Photon Overcharge. So I like the Phoenix Scout going out across the field now as well.
We've got a, oh yeah, this Phoenix is going to be able to spot pretty much everything here. He's going to see that the Tech Lab is researching, but he's also going to note that the Marines do not yet have combat shields, so he might suspect that Stim will probably be complete by this point, and that's likely going to be combat shield. The first two medevacs are on the way now, and that will actually time out with a combat shield push out across the map, so it looks like that's what's going to happen here. +1 infantry armor, going to be a little bit further behind, and this Zealot at the watchtower will be able to spot that there are Marines incoming across the center of the map.
Yeah, and I mean, looking at the mineral line of Pandatank, he's got 3 sentries, 2 of them banking almost 3 force fields. He's going to have no problem stopping this army from moving in, or at least buying time for his Colossus, the first one on the way right now. And with Photon Overcharge, Pandatank should not have any problem at all with this attack. The worst that could happen is if the Marines stim up and kill the Observer, or and then manage to get the sentries. But 3rd Command Center already on the way for Project. He is not going for any kind of big risk style at all. I feel this is just a tiny bit of a shove, more so.
Yeah, especially with the Mothership Core with full energy available there. It's going to make it a little bit more difficult. Drops, of course, less effective because of that Nexus will be able to focus down the medevacs as well, so it's effectively a death sentence, if you like. Then we see a Hallucinated Phoenix and an Observer in tandem here. Will be able to spot that Project actually can't get a lot done right now. And with the Colossus up the front of his natural ramp, I think Pandatank's feeling fairly safe.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be, just like you said earlier, we're going to have a pretty nice, long, drawn-out macro game. Project is not playing at all for the early stages of the mid-game. He wants to get his 3-base economy rolling. He wants to get all of this barracks production just going at full blast, churning out units left and right, and then going for the heavy aggression. Possibly trying to stretch the multitasking. But one thing to want to note, though, Jurasar, look at the map vision for Pandatank. He has quite a few units spread out. He has the pylons in the bottom to be able to spot drops, and he has just been everywhere with his scouting.
Oh, and this Hallucinated Phoenix is actually going to be able to spot that, hang on a second, this isn't some sort of really fast 2-base aggression. We already have the 3rd Orbital Command up and running on the 3rd base location for Project, and that's immediately going to trigger the 3rd Nexus going down for Pandatank. He realizes he actually has a little bit more room to maneuver than perhaps he otherwise would have thought, and his Templar Archives is almost complete, so we are going to see a lot of this storming action against the Bioforces here. Let's see if Pandatank can pull this off. Oh, that's a lot of gateways going down there.
Yeah, he's got quite a bit of production being added on here. And you know, one of the things as a Protoss player, you usually take your 3rd base as soon as you know that the Terran player isn't playing off of 2 bases. Trying to expand before Terran can be such a risk, but not spotting that 3rd until 12 minutes is going to give a nice significant edge to Project in his economy. And with his 2-2 rolling up, he's actually not that far behind at all in upgrades versus Pandatank, especially since, well, he's starting that Ghost Academy.
The Marine has spotted the 3rd base here, and Pandatank is looking like he wants to try and get a whole bunch of units out very, very quickly indeed, because Storm is 2/3 of the way complete. Those gateways are now done, And the Double Forge isn't actually researching 3-3 at the moment, so I wonder if he's going to go for a swell of units and try and do a bit of damage towards a third base before these ghosts can hop out. At the moment, it doesn't look too like he's transferring probes to his third, so maybe Pandatank is happy to concede economic position for now in favor of catching up and getting the units out later.
Yeah, I mean, with the 2-2 finishing up, though, for Project, it looks like he wants to turn up the heat, as it were. He's got some Hellbacks mixed into this bio as well. Will deal very, very well with the charge lots. There's actually quite a few Zealots in the mix here for Pandatank, and that can end up hurting him a little bit. What's really going to come down to being important are those storms. Like you said, Pandatank really favoring that Templar tech path. He did get the Colossus, but he never got range for it. He wasn't really interested in making more than one. And there's the scan. Ooh, Project. He sees there's no other base in the top area. Reaper is going to park itself there. And, well, preemptive mothership core using that photon overcharge.
Yeah, it's a little bit risky to do that because now he's thinking there might not be one at the third, but there in fact is, and the photo overcharge is going down. But notice there are no supporting units here, so it looks like this bio army might be able to kill off the Nexus. There's a storm coming out and more units being warped in, but the Nexus will go down. In the meantime, a huge engagement off in the center of the map. There are actually SCVs being pulled with this composition as well, and Project is looking to end this right here, right now. There's only a single Viking actually tapping away at that Colossus, so not a lot of damage, right? And beautiful storms coming out from Pandatank. Oh my goodness, how is the weather, he's asking. And the Colossus mopping up a lot of this bio army, but is it just too much firepower? Mainly Marauders left, but there are 2 Immortals with this composition. There are basically Medivacs and not many units. It looks like Pandatank will just about win this.
Yeah, he's going to be able to barely hold this push off. There were a good number of SCVs in that mix. He was able to kill 22 of them, but the total worker count is going to slightly favor Pandatank. His 3-3 is going to complete very soon. We don't actually have 3-3 even started for our Terran player, which is going to give a nice tiny bit of an edge to Pandatank as that finishes up. He will have to rebuild his third Nexus, though. I feel like that was a pretty even trade for the most part, thanks to those really, really good storms, as you said.
I think a lot of it comes down to really if Pandatank can go for some sort of counter push that maybe puts pressure on or even kills the third base of Project. I think Pandatank would definitely be quite far ahead if he's able to deny that kind of mining. As it stands, even though Project is workers down, he's actually 65 to 46, those mules and the fact that he's still mining off his third base is going to help him a lot in the very near future. So Project will be able to recuperate, like you mentioned, Nathanius. And Pandatank at the moment, a 141 supply versus 135. So things looking fairly even at this point.
Yeah, I kind of like this somewhat map-dominating position Pandatank has taken. Most of the time, Protoss players want to play a little bit more on the defensive side, of course, in case there are anything like fast drops or really just any kind of run-bys of units. But Hellbat gets cut to shreds in the center of the map, and a 4th Nexus is going to be finishing up for Pandatank. There's actually no 4th base on the field for Project. He might be looking to go for a follow-up all-in here or something of that sort. Maybe he's just planning on lifting his main command center when it mines out.
It's entirely possible. I mean, he's spending a lot of his money at the moment just into additional army supply. He's getting 5 Marauders at a time and 4 Marines. That sounds like pretty serious business on the ground there. Marauders, of course, significantly more hardy units, might be able to withstand a couple more of those storms from Pandatank. But as long as Pandatank has good positioning, he stands a good chance of beating this army. It all comes down to micro in this engagement. Hellbat's been mixed in for Project as well. He's up to 176 supply. Pandatank is matching that unit for unit. He's still got the upgrade advantage, but Project has started his 3-3 as well.
And Pandatank actually manages to do once again another little slip in, gets a Dark Templar into the natural expansion mineral line. He's killed 5 SCVs, not bad. The Marauder actually tried to tag him, but he barely got past the turret. Although it does look like Project may want to engage now. Those ghosts are going to need some really sick EMPs to be able to mitigate those storms.
Yep, EMPs versus storms. Let's see what's going to happen. Oh, excellent feedbacks! That hero High Templar, ladies and gentlemen, just absolutely sniped all three of those ghosts as they were walking in, and that triggers a full-scale retreat coming out of Project here. That was beautiful micromanagement from Pandatank, and now he's pressing home his advantage. Has he pushed it a little bit too far, though? Project has a pretty decent concave here. He's stimming and moving forward against this army, and here come the first of the storms. A lot of Archons here at the front of this army, and wow, okay, a lot of damage being taken from these storms, but is it going to be enough? 150 to 166 supply. Pandatank needs a couple more.
Yeah, he is really whittling down this Bioforce. So many stims being forced. The medevac count, man, it is so high though, Jarsar. And he is going to be able to shoot through a good portion of this force, but I feel like with this fresh weapon of Zealots, Pandatank should be able to throw Project back. Finally, there's still 3 Colossi on the field. Those Archons have not been answered. No EMPs at all. And like you said, that hero High Templar with 3 kills pretty much just completely won Panda that engagement and possibly the game.
Yeah, it all came down to Micro at the start of that engagement, like we predicted, Nathanius, and Pandatank just read his opponent so well, saw that the Ghosts were going to come in to try and get some sweet EMPs before the start of that battle, and the one High Templar off on the edge sort of looked down and said, you know what, I don't think this is going to happen. Zap, 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 and before you knew it, most of the battle was won before it even started. Really well done by Pandatank. He now leads by over 50 supply. He's marching towards the third base of Project, and he is looking to really flatten his Terran opponent and move on into the next round here at the WCS EU.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Project, he really doesn't want to get eliminated at this point, but that blunder with the Ghosts, it may have cost him too much. He's sending out a scouting Marine. He's like, oh goodness, he gets completely fried up by those lasers. That's not a very fun way to die, but nope. I'm not so sure the rest of his comrades are going to be able to hold on. It looks like Pandatank's getting ready to push in, Jarsar.
And he's actually going in towards the natural. He's trying to goad the army out from that third base location, and he's in a great spot to maybe get a couple of storms off. The High Templars are in such a good position, and here we go. First storm coming out, the Colossi as backup. Pandatank needs to choose an engagement point. He doesn't want to be flanked by 2 sides here, which is what he might do, staying around. Which, okay, he's picking the natural expansion now, almost getting the bunker out, trying to goad the army out, manages to do it once again, and here come the storms.
There's just so much here for Pandatank. I'm just not sure that Project has even the resources left to mine to get up this this setup that he needs. And the third base is even running dry as well. He's running in towards the natural, and he's just playing this patiently. He's like, okay, well, you're only on 3 bases. There can't be anything really left in your main. Your natural's pretty much dry, and
he's being pulled.
Yeah, he's just going to keep chewing away at him, and there's not too much Project can do. He's just going to go for it.
And it looks like great storms off both sides, actually. Pandatank trying to handle the engagement on both ends and doing a pretty superb job so far. Project is down to 70 supply versus 160, and our hero from South Africa will be able to take the victory. Robert Bottas, Pandatank is going to go forward to